Is technology going to be able to measure the space utilisation that's left behind when people are working at home? Is it going to be able to be maximised? And if you are working at home, what IT support is there, if any? So we get the panel's opinion. Joe, do you think there's any IT support for people working at home?
I think there is, but I think it is fairly limited on the whole. If you're in the office, I think it's more easy to obtain the IT support. But when you're working from home, it's something that you're at the other end of the line and not necessarily going to get that recall that you need at any point. But on the whole, I think FM companies are embracing flexible working, but it's not sitting well at this point. It's got a long way to go.
Is that senior management problem?
Are we coming back to age? I better pass this on now.
Is it just Fridays then, Steve?
It would be for me, certainly. I do work at home, and I know that I find it deeply frustrating in many ways. So I completely concur that there is a lot of work to be done, but it is an absolute requirement for people. They want to be able to do that, and I think that if we build trust into our employees, and we expect them to do the jobs that we want, then actually working from home is a very legitimate way of conducting your work, and you don't need to be next to people because of the communication abilities that we have. So let's make it easier and sort the issues out.
I mean, all of you guys have FM companies as clients, okay? So in your experience, how many of them actually have properly embraced flexible work?
Well, I can't put an accurate figure on it, but I would say the majority. I mean, the question is, does technology support it? And quite clearly the answer is yes, because so many people do it. So it's whether the FM industry itself wants to implement flexible working. And that, I think, really depends on the role you have in the organisation. And as Steve says, the ability for that organisation to put trust in the individuals, because it's the trust that pays dividends. So a straight answer, yes, the technology will support it. It's the culture, I think, which still has to be moved, and it's not just the executives or the admin staff who should be allowed to do it.
I think that's a very good point about culture of companies. How do you protect the culture of a company if all your workers are flexible? Does anyone in the audience have a view on that? Do you think the culture of companies are under threat? I mean, obviously the chief executive of Yahoo does, because she believes that their team working ethic is destroyed by flexible working or working at home. Does anyone violently disagree in the audience, or do they think she has a point?
I wrote some blogs about this about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's about the nature of innovation and creativity, particularly in big organisations. And I think one of the things that people fail to embrace is the fact that when people start to work from home, and that's what's typically called flexible working, the activities that go on in the workplace are now different. And therefore the design of the spaces, and that directly affects the facilities management industry, is about giving spaces that are about collaboration, about providing opportunity for teamwork, about providing social opportunities, and therefore I think that needs to be supported, as well as the task management, the task working, which is what typically goes on at home.
I mean, I personally believe that corporates haven't quite grasped what flexible working is all about. I think it's their opportunity to reduce their space utilisation, amongst other things, and I don't think they've actually thought about giving the tools to the people who are working from home to be able to communicate in a different way with their colleagues. So they just chuck them at home, let them use their mobile phones, pay 80% of the bill, and save the desk space. So I think that's their idea of flexible working. If we actually came up with a way in which they could communicate a lot better with each other, and their companies provided the technology to allow them to do that, I don't think we would lose the team spirit and cultural aspects necessarily as badly as we do at the moment. So, and I think it will come.